All right, we're getting connected. Got some crazy construction going on. Sorry, we're starting a little bit late today. I was running into some technical difficulties. Glad to already have a viewer. Fantastic. Um, yeah, here, let's just give it a sec. Let some people get on board. But we're gonna have ourselves a little conversation today. Just about designs of our cities and some things we can do to improve them. I had a really great conversation recently with somebody about this stuff, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. Hello, welcome. Go ahead, throw something in the chat. We're about to get started here. Glad to have you. I'm a little bit off the cuff. I was planning on having a guest on today, but he's been a little unresponsive this morning and this afternoon. So you haven't been able to get him on board. I don't know what happened, but that's all right. I had a backup in place. But yeah, so we're gonna talk about designing cities. Let me adjust some things. Cool. Yeah. So anybody who lives in a big city, including here in Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, whatever, is familiar with the problem of traffic, right? Big problem. People are, it just gets really bad. And I talked to somebody yesterday or the other day or whatever about, they were really passionate about this topic and some like concrete changes that need to be made and the benefits of those changes. So the most obvious one, first off, of course, is public transit, talking about like light rail and commuter rail to get people from like moving inside of a city as well as from outside the city to inside the city. So we get more cars off the road, as well as just developing other ways of transportation, right, that are not just like personal vehicles. Take up a lot of space, a lot of noise, lots of pollution, lots of road rage. Told me about that he came across a study. I haven't looked it up, but that I just want to read it here. That the commute mode and length there may be a causation that commuting using a personal vehicle and long commutes may lead to higher levels of obesity and suicide, like mental health problems. That's believable. That makes a lot of sense. Public transit is actually cheaper for households than personal vehicles are. He quoted me numbers. It was like $8,000 a year for personal vehicles versus $1,500 a year for public transit. Right, so like that was big, but there was something else and then there was another piece of that too with public transit of federal matching funds. Told me that, and I'm gonna look into this and take a deeper dive, but that the federal government matches local funds at something like 9-1 for highways and freeways, but for public transit, the match is only like 0.5-1. So it's like, 1/20th almost of what it is for highways. And so the federal government could change, we could write legislation in Congress that would change what those apportionments are, which would be super cool. So I think that would be a great way for the federal government to incentivize more public transit at the local level. But there was another thing that he talked about, which was mixed use zoning. This is zoning where it's like, it's not just residential or not just business, but like you can have both. You can have people living in apartments or houses and then walk down to the corner to get some groceries or go to the drugstore or doctor's appointment or whatever local business, whatever local shops and stuff. And if you mix all that stuff together, rather than having the model that we have right now in a lot of places where you have these like residential areas that are just a lot of houses or a lot of apartments or whatever, and then you have like a business district like a downtown, and everybody has to drive from outside into this central location all at once to get, to buy stuff. But if instead everybody had access to all the things that they needed within walking distance of where they were, and you just had all this like mixed stuff going on, then you can reduce traffic and you can increase foot traffic, and this is really great for public health, right? Having people walk around to get places is better than having people drive around to get places. Cost is another thing. Roads are expensive to maintain, right? Vehicles are expensive to maintain. You look at like, where is that money going, right? Is it people are spending so much time in personal vehicles? Well, and they're spending more money on gas. Well, that's just going to, some fossil fuel company who knows where. It's not staying in the community. Whereas you could instead have local businesses where that money is being spent instead. Public health, and costs, costs to the city as well are the two biggest reasons to shift incentives away from personal vehicle use and toward public transit and mixed-use zoning. And there are other cool ideas like selling or leasing land to businesses around stations for light rail and commuter rails, including like away from the city. So that way, people will be able to get off and go straight to the shops or whatever it is, that may not necessarily be in the middle of the city. And so this is a way to incentivize, again, not centralizing everything so much, which causes a lot of traffic, and traffic causes accidents, and there's so many things. So there are a lot of really cool things about this, about how if we were to design our cities better around just like human needs and public health, we could do a lot better. We could achieve a lot better things. That's really vague. We could dramatically improve the quality, like the fabric and character of our cities, and how people move around them, and interact with it, which is super cool. Hey, welcome, glad to have you. I see you just joined. Go ahead and throw something in the chat, say hello. Today we're just talking about public transit and mixed-use zoning. And just like the public health and the cost benefits of it. I mean, and there are a variety of other things, but those two seem to be pretty easy sells as to why we should be investing in more public transit, and why we should be shifting zoning laws to be mixed use. And I am thinking of, I was also trying to think about like, okay, from Congress, what could we do to encourage mixed use zoning, to incentivize mixed use zoning for locales, municipalities? And I always my default answer is always like, well, we can provide incentives or something. Say like, well, hey, if you change to a multi-use zoning, then you can get federal funds to help build the stuff that's going to happen there. There are a lot of like interesting ways that we can encourage this kind of stuff. Of course, it's going to require local activism as well. But and there are a ton of fantastic groups. I know like ATX Urbanists is a local group here in Austin that is focused on that kind of stuff. I talked to somebody else who was like, I want more bike lanes on Red River and Burnett up by the Domain. I was like, that sounds awesome. I can't, that's incredibly specific and a little bit outside the realm of Congress, but again, it's like we could provide incentives and give people fighting for that stuff an actual like fighting chance. This is some interesting stuff. If you guys have anything you want to add, go ahead and throw it in the chat. I'm not gonna like drag this out any longer than I have to. I do have an interview later today. If you guys, I'd love to have you guys join. I believe they live stream. So it's an interview with Lila and Jackie. I'm going to be getting a little bit intoxicated during this interview. We're going to talk about all sorts of fun stuff. So that starts at 4 p.m. Central. Look out on my Twitter and social media. I'll be posting about it after this. But yeah, that'll be super fun. And then other than that, like I said, nobody's really been commenting, so I'm not going to keep droning on and on and on. I'll go ahead and end the stream. But those of you who have joined, thanks for coming.